Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas.
Thank you very much for watching.
Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas.
Thank you very much for watching.
Hello, Jim Howard here in Fort Worth, Texas. Today's date, it's March 22nd of 2022. It's 10:28 p.m. About 30 minutes ago, probably about 35 minutes ago or so, I was sitting here and it sounded to me like right outside my window there was a rapid 7 to 10 rounds fired off from a gun. It did not sound like fireworks. I waited about 5 minutes or so, and I called 911 and, told them. And we hear shots fired in this area quite often. And I think this is the first time I've called 911. Now, of course, on the 4th of July, I don't bother calling. And on New Year's, because people that's their excuse to go out and shoot guns up in the air. And now there was a shooting right on the other side of our fence, but back behind us. This is an apartment complex. Next door is a facility, building that houses, I'm not sure what the deal is, elderly people, people with some disabilities, that type of. I see quite a few, like Monday through Friday, I sometimes see a vehicle pull up and maybe a nurse or some type of somebody that does some type of a skill, make it like they're making rounds here, stop here and check on a patient or something like that. Now behind this building over here next to us, there's a fence down a little bit that way, but on the other side of the fence, that's still butting up on the property of this apartment. And I forget how long ago it was, a year or 2 years ago, there was a whole bunch of gunfire going off. And I looked out, I'm not sure if I opened up our patio door or not, can't remember now. But there were police cars arriving right away, so they knew something was going on. Then there was a light out in the parking lot, or out in the area back there, and a young man was being chased by another young man. The other young man was shooting at this young man and killed him out there in the parking lot. One of the people who lives in the apartment building behind us heard the police officer telling the young man, son, you're going to be okay. You're going to be okay now. You're going to be okay. Well, of course, it wasn't okay. The local message board, I think is it called neighborhood it's nationwide. When I was in Miami, I signed up for it, and you get local people post a message, like, why is there a police helicopter flying over? And people will hear people post on the thing. Anybody else hear gunshots and stuff like that? So now I was shot at once. When would that have been? God, I don't know. Before 2000. I was working at a hospital, and we got off at 10 p.m. And I just pulled out of the 10 p.m. at night, just pulled out from the hospital parking garage, turned, went a few feet up. There was red light turned green. I started to cross and crossed the street. So I was just, a few hundred feet from the hospital property, and I heard bang, ping. I knew right away what it was, and I just kept on driving, drove on home. And when I'm driving a Volkswagen Rabbit, when I got home, I, looked at the car, and the bullet hit guttering. So it was about this far from my temple, and it dented the next day at work. I mentioned to, I'm not sure if I mentioned it or if the security officer said something, like the others, because he was coming behind, he was leaving the same time I was. Real nice guy. He worked there in security, and then he quit because he'd gone to Bible college and study to be a minister, and he left for a while and went, and then he came back after a couple of years or something like that. It did not work out for him because the churches, the places they sent him to, they couldn't afford a minister, and they didn't have that many parishioners, that type of stuff. But anyway, he came back. But anyway, he said that he was behind me, of course, and that he saw the two young men on the corner over there and point the gun and fire a round. Trying to think if that's the only time I was shot at. Anyway, it's just on the local message board, like on this, the people, quite often there'll be a thing, did anybody hear the shots and that were fired at such and such a time. In fact, what I do, I don't have the paper here, for that reason now. I have it here for notes, But when I hear gunshots around here, I write down the time and then, how many rounds I thought it was. One time when I was working security, that same hospital, research medical center, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay, this would be before 2000, because I retired from there in 2000. And I worked at 2000 census, and then I worked after that also. But I was patrolling. We had 2 cars patrolling, and then we had a vehicle in the. Well, that time we didn't have 2 patrolling. We had 1 car patrolling, and then there was a vehicle in the parking garages that covered that. Sometimes it was a Cushman scooter, Sometimes it was, they went through different things. Like one time they were using like a postal vehicle, one of those postal vehicles. But anyway, we had a bunch of, we had a hospital there, a big hospital, and then there was a nursing dorm, then there were residences, townhouses that were rented out to nurses and stuff like that. So anyway, a guy was looking into the nursing dorm window, and he took off running on foot. Now this is late at night, I think about 2 in the morning or something like that. So there weren't a lot of cars in that, it was, a lot of cars up close to the, but then and he was running and of course I called in on the radio to dispatch, our dispatch. And we had a scanner in our car for the police scanner where we could hear police calls. And I had been listening to it, of course. And the police had been dispatched a few blocks away to a party where there was a bunch of drunk people. And of course I heard that call. And so what happened is, well, anyway, I heard on the radio, that they broke up the party and the people were leaving. And then this guy was running from me, and he left the parking lot, but he was still on hospital property, but he disappeared. And of course this is, it's at night. But I knew the terrain, and I knew also that, okay, I hadn't lost sight of him and that he had to be behind a tree. Because it was, like a vacant area up there. But so I pulled out my weapon, and then I hollered, step out where I can see, or something like that. And then, he did. And of course, I updated on the radio, the person's running, but everything. We all did, but I was extra, always keep everybody updated about everything. And then he stepped out. And then I heard tires squealing on a car. It's kind of hard to explain this area. They were boulevards, and there was this boulevard that came right up to our property, and then the thing made a turn, and then went and whatever. So the car is coming, from the party, one of the cars from that party, and the car is coming, and then I heard, bang, 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 bang. They were firing a gun off out the window or something, which was not unusual. In fact, that was the usual thing for that. Anyway, I immediately took the radio, and I said, I can't remember what my number was, everything's okay at this location. Those shots did not come from here. Those shots did not come from here. And so when anyway, I got the guy out. And my supervisor said, Jim, I was so glad when I heard you say that those shots, because that's what I thought, As soon as I heard those shots, I thought, oh my God. But now the police didn't, contact. I didn't think they would in this thing. And I don't know if anybody else called or not. On that local message board, people will leave, sometimes, and they usually, well, you can tell by the, it's called neighborhood or something like, kind of a nice, because somebody will leave a message. I heard shots fired at such and such a time. Sometimes they'll say how many, and sometimes other people, there'll be sometimes 2 or 3 people will, and then some people pop in and say, I live, in such and such complex or whatever. I didn't hear anything, stuff, So it may be tomorrow or the next day, on that local message thing, somebody might leave it, at 10 p.m. on such and such a date, I heard gunshots. Did anybody else hear gunshots, you know? Oh, I looked at the video that I just looked up. Looked okay. That one that I talked about where I'm recording it in 3840 by 2160, but I'm rendering it in 1920 by 1080, and looked okay. My only problem is I had two videos showing, not in the last video, but when I changed that, I've lost it. So I've got one. And my intention was to have two videos. You have one now, and have another video there below, and then whatever the topic was. And then my intention was to have where I have the option of clicking and making the video that you're seeing fill the screen up. So like when I'm talking like this, fill the screen up, and then I can unclick it, you know. And but my second video, I can't find it. I mean, the second video, it doesn't show to me, but I mean, on the thing it's listed, but it doesn't, I don't know. I think I already deleted it and then tried to I'll figure it out eventually. Maybe if I went to, for some reason, I don't know, if I went to 3840 by 2160 and then did not, change it for the output and left it at 3840 by 2160, that other video might show up. Let's see what's going on here. I was going to show you something. On the last, I came here, and then I got sidetracked by that I lost 5 people in the last 28 days as subscribers. By the way, if you're not subscribed, please do subscribe and push the that you want to be notified, or that whatever it is, the bell. Then you'll be notified when I post something. Let's see, let's see, I know I'd be notified if I was. Supers. There's a thing, I don't have access to it yet. Some people do, a lot of people do. And that enables a person, I can't, but you can put a thing so there's a thing underneath the video that you're watching. There would be a thing that you could click on and make a donation. So I'd like to have that access. I'd like to have that ability to put that, have that there. I don't think people would use it very often. Of course, there are some places that, some people are really popular. But I'd like to have it just in case there was somebody who really got something out of one of my videos. Instead of just saying hey, thanks a lot, such and such helped, or whatever. Hey, they could click on it and donate $1 or $5 or something, I think that'd be nice. So I wish they'd turn that ability on, but they're taking, I guess they roll it out to certain people, and I don't know how they work it out, who they roll it out to. Then they roll it out to everybody, or else they do away with it or something. Let's see. A journalist reportedly kidnapped. Let's see. The stuff moves to. Putin's anti-NATO rampage backfires as neutral countries look for protection. Meghan Markle loses patronage to Camarilla Parker Bowles. Body found under a pile of clothes. You know, if you've watched my videos over years, not just videos, but even before that, blogs, you know, WordPress sites, Live Journal, that was one of the long time ago. You've probably heard my views on that we have too many people imprisoned, and that prison should, you know, should be government run, not run by private corporations. We have too many laws. The laws we have, let's enforce them, but let's not have so many, all that kind of stuff. I'm getting old. And I know this is just me sounding off, it's not going to happen. And also the, you know, the Constitution forbids, you know, what do they say, what's it, cruel and unusual, anyway, but anyway. But you know, some of the stuff that people that do these things or whatever, I just think, you know, that, but it would be too much, well, it'd be against the Constitution. And, but I just think, you know, that make up a prison up in Alaska someplace, away from everybody, and make the prisoners go up there and build the thing and grow their own food. If you can't grow the food, then you know. And then too, the things, I've watched documentaries about prisons in Sweden and Denmark and Japan and places like that. And like in Japan, the people, you know, they march to places, they don't talk back, you know, they don't, you know, and here somebody can, you know, they go to prison and they join a gang, you know, and gangs shouldn't be allowed, you know, they shouldn't be, what are you going to do? You can't, you know, if you say, okay, well, if you're part of a gang or you, whatever, you know, you're not going to get any food, you know, no, you can't do that, you know, you can't. So I don't know what the solution, it's a good thing I'm not in any position to make any decisions, but I'm still opposed to the death penalty. But, you know, when they have on the news, you know, that somebody was executed, and then they list, you know, they say what they did, you know, I think, you know, well, good riddance, but I'm still opposed to the death penalty. I know that, you know, there have been too many innocent people, you know, executed for sure. Even, you know, now well, I won't say who, I'll say a person I know is a big fan of the death penalty, and man prays for exacting perfect revenge on sister's abusive husband. 10-year-old set to rake in small fortune after digging up rare medieval artifact. A long, long time ago, I was an adult though, I bought one of those metal detectors at Radio Shack. That's when we had our tropical fish shop. We were in our second location. And I mean, I don't mean we had two locations, we set up one place and then we moved to a second location and then we moved to a third location. And then we went out of business. But at the second location, it was a place that a couple who they owned the piece of property, and the lady wanted it to be rented out by a hair salon or something. I don't think she was too happy that we were selling tropical fish there or whatever. But it was a business area. But and my wife and I, and it would be 2 kids at that point. We lived there. Anyway, it was at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke up and I heard this thing like when you watch science fiction movies, the space invaders or whatever, the sound of, their engine or something like that, of whirring, whatever. And I woke up and my God, I'm thinking, what in the hell could that be? I'm laying there, what could that be? What could that be? Finally, I got out of bed and it was coming from the closet. I'd put my metal detector in there, I think hanging on a hook or something, along with the clothes, or maybe it was up on a shelf, and it had fallen over and the switch had hit and turned it on, and I guess maybe coat hangers were going back and forth, and that's what it was. But I woke up at other people would have said, that the aliens visited them, that they heard or something, but that was weird. This co-star called Shirley MacLaine the most obnoxious actor. Okay, this is going to be one of these things that gets you to click where they don't really give you the, my God, she looks old. Alexa, how old is Shirley MacLaine?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Who were you asking about?
Shirley MacLaine, how old is she?
Shirley MacLaine is 87 years old.
A few years older than I am. Joan Crawford's life was even more scandalous than her movies. Tucker Carlson, I guess, on Fox News says everyone is lying. Some of these dogs, it says, dog's annoyed reaction to puppy trying to chew her toy is perfectly. Those dogs like that have those big eyes or whatever, some of those, I'm not sure what breed it is. They get this look on they get the eyes, like sometimes they've done something bad and the owner is saying, what, or something like that. It's just amazing. Or if they don't want to look at something, they'll. Liza Minnelli, 76, in a wheelchair as she has a meal with George Hamilton. Liza Minnelli has been pictured on a rare sighting, looking frail as she was helped out of a restaurant in a wheelchair in Las Vegas. She celebrated her 76th birthday earlier this month. You know, she could have, just fallen or, twisted her ankle. Could be anything, They go into detail, just. An Arkansas mom allegedly stabbed her son to death 12 days after filing for a restraining order. An Arkansas woman was arrested and charged with murdering her son over the weekend, just days after being awarded okay, what do you see? Stabbing, say, 44-year-old lady is accused of stabbing her son to death on Sunday night. Responded to a report of a 16-year-old boy with a large chest wound. Boy was rushed to a local hospital. He did not make it. She was arrested and booked on suspicion of first-degree murder. She called to report the stabbing around 10:45 p.m. She allegedly told the dispatcher that she woke up and stabbed my son. Oh, such good news. Such bad news, or such no good news, you know what I mean? By the way, let's see, there you are. I put that thing I had, the shield, the audio thing to go around yesterday or whatever, or maybe today. Well, yeah. So now this microphone is right here, and I don't have that shield, and it's right in between the two monitors. And, in front. So it's, okay, there's an arm, that's with my arm extended all the way. I'm touching the microphone. Oh. The video I made 3 hours ago has received 8 views. The video I made yesterday has got 26 views. The video that I made 2 days ago has got 51 views. 63, 59, 40, 69, 53, 55. Oh, there's one that day that 137 views, but then it goes on 42, Let's see. Laurel and Hardy, I Have Nothing to Say. Breaking Bad. Embarrassing moments on live TV. or maybe there's a ton of Russian dancing and stuff. I mean, of course, I just talked to my other video, I think, or did I type on the site about getting a hit from, you know, soft or a copyright, you know, hit or whatever. And underneath it, I talked a little bit in the comments saying about how I very rarely try to monetize any video. I used to in the beginning monetize everything, you know, just automatically, but I just very rarely do it now. It's not worth it, you know. Anybody recognize what language that is? But there's an awful lot of, and it has nothing to, I'm talking about, it has nothing to do with the current Russian situation or whatever, but there's just an awful lot of videos being posted from schools, you know, and stuff like that. I like looking at some of the, like even the schools, because you can look in the background. You know, they'll have the kids out in front of it'll be like a poor looking school, and you can you know, you can see the stuff that's going on. You know, other kids looking out the windows if they have kids out in front dancing. Other kids will be looking out the window. And in these kind of situations too, you'll see people standing off stage, you know, getting ready to come in to go on the next. And then there's, I'm sure it's a Russian, Portugal. Okay, there we go for this one. I don't know if that's the last one or if this is, yeah, this looks like it's Portugal, I think. But the Russian ones, I'm not sure if it's the same thing, if I'm seeing the same site, if I'm flagged where they send me a whole bunch of stuff on that, but they have these kids doing gymnastics or whatever, dancing or whatever. But there's a couple musical tunes that play all that, you know, that they use a lot. Oh, this is going to be one of these flash dance things, I think. Yeah. But there's a couple songs that they play so often that I've gotten now where I'm kind of like the song. There was a great video that I saw the other day on YouTube, and I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was great because, okay, let's say the name was Susie. Then the title was something like, Tell Susie That I Love Her Mom. And so there's this boy who's singing the thing. And it's really a good video. I mean, it's a professional video. And I think the song is, I mean, that boy looks like he's maybe 12 or 13 or something. He's not doing this, the singing, I don't think. But it's a really well done video, and cute, because it's like, if you remember the name of it, tell me, because I would like to put that someplace where I could watch it occasionally, because it's really cute, and the mother shows quite a bit of skin, and so the boy is singing, or the thing singing is, tell Susie I love her mother, or something like that. And so you'll see the mother getting a massage from a massage person or something, out on the lawn or something, and the boy's looking, at her, at the mom, and this girl, the daughter or whatever, she's looking at the boy her age, and when he's looking, whatever, she thinks that he's like looking at her and stuff like that. It's really kind of cute. But I can't remember the name of the, I tried doing a search for Tell, but I can't think of the name, Susie or whatever with the, yeah, I've seen this flash thing before. This guy, of course, is in on it, of course. I mean, he's in on the whole thing. Then towards the end, he pulls out, I don't know, a drum or something, out of the thing. I guess this video will probably get, my video here will probably get about 10 copyright warnings or something. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I have a docking station that's working for me, but let's see, Amazon. And by the way, I have another docking station. I think I showed that to you. Okay, I put it, it's on the shelf or whatever. I couldn't even figure out, it was so complicated, I couldn't even figure out how to hook it up. You need a PhD or something. But, let's see. Order, no. Wish list. I think this one, the Wavelength Dual 4K USB docking station. Yeah, I thought that because I do also have a Chromebook, and I paid $100 for this thing that I'm using here, which seems to be working, but Wavelength 4K USB-C universal laptop docking station. Let's see what, okay, here it is. Let's go down here, so. Okay, on the front, there's USB 3.0, a USB 3.0, a USB 3.0, a USB 3.0, and a jack to plug in a microphone. And then on the back, there's a USB 3.0, a USB 3.0, Ethernet, HDMI, or display ports. Oh, I see. There to get two of them, so you have a. Oh, today, for the first time, I noticed something I never noticed before. Some of the cables that I've had on the display port thing. They have something like you can kind of press on it, and slide it in. And then most of the cables I have, they don't have that. You just plug it in. Well, for the first time today, I noticed on this display port on the end there, I pressed the little thing, and I was thinking, it took me all these years I thought, why do they have only on a few of these things, this little thing you push? And then I noticed little tiny hooks on the end of the thing. And then I noticed when I pushed, and it didn't take a lot of pressure, they, pulled back inside. And I'm sure I've just been pushing those things in without squeezing that thing. So you might watch that on your display port things. Might check the cables and see if you have some cables where there's a thing that appears to be a reason to press it, Let's see. Kind of thinking about ordering this, and especially since it says, Sports Chrome. What else is on my list? Oh, I have a birthday coming up here on the 26th, so I should show you my list here. Just kidding, but this looks interesting. Survival gear. Oh, it's got some cables, an axe, a hammer, a knife. I'm sure it's got a thing for the thing for breaking a windshield or a door on a vehicle to get somebody out. A whole bunch of stuff. $40, be something to think about. Here, well, I'm not sure I own any, but I like metal. I was for years a welder, and mainly, heavy steel, but also there was some on the truck, or the trucks, the ones that had the blades or one on the front. I forget what we had the special, like extra heavy duty things. We had to preheat the metal before we could weld on it, and it was difficult to weld on. Had to be, they had to make sure that it was done properly. But I've always liked the idea of a titanium, I'm not going to have a silver something, or I'm not going to have a gold something, but I like the idea of titanium. Yeah. I wish they would make my Fisher space pen out of titanium or something else. I think that, well, I'm sure this is made in China, but I've watched some reviews on this, and it's inexpensive, but it's built. When you pick it up and when you look at it, when you feel it, it's like metal, and not just a little bit of metal, around it, the whole thing, and then the cameras are, it's a Sony camera. It's not a Sony cell phone, but it's interesting. Massive battery. It's just got some interesting things about it. but I'm sure that it must fall down in certain areas. The Sony 48 megapixel triple camera, see 48. I may have to go over this here. No, okay. 48 main camera, 16 ultra wide camera, 2 megapixel micro camera, and a dual LED flash. I really don't need, I've got, I think I mentioned this yesterday. I don't even hardly use one cell phone. I mean, I'm paying for two cell phones. I have Mint service with one, and I have something else with the other one, and I don't even use the other one. Is just turned off, laying around here someplace. So I don't need another cell phone. I had a Pixel, and the inexpensive one, Pixel something or other. And the camera was nice because they do their camera stuff, with coding, where these other companies, they spend the money on the lenses, and that type of stuff. And of course, I'm sure somebody's gotten smart and is doing both, really good lenses, and then they use software to let's see what else is on this list. How long have I been talking? Okay, just about. Gonna stop here in a little bit because it's almost an hour. I'd sort of like to have an Apple iPhone. I'm not talking about 1,000, or $1,500 one, but my 20-gallon tank. I want to get rid of it. I'm thinking like getting a 10-gallon tank or something. And I was in the business, and so yeah, I know it's more difficult to take care of a 10-gallon tank than it is a larger tank because of the small amount of, there's more fluctuation because you have a small amount of, if you have a larger amount, it's stuff, all that, I know all that kind of stuff. I even taught a non-credit course at Metropolitan Community College. Anyway, I think it's about my nap time. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Anyway, I'm going to stop for this, and I thank you very much for watching.